to make a video here and show you guys how I do a two-part silkscreen stencil. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Cricut uploaded images. I'm going to pick one out here. This has got two colors, and I'm going to insert the images here. I'm going to just kind of make this, I'm going to do this to fit a 3 by, it'll probably pop up to be about, yeah, about a 1.5 inch, 3 by 1.5. So it's a little bit smaller. But I'm going to keep it at this size because I know I have a 3.5 by a 2 inch cookie cutter, and I want to make it to fit that. So I brought this in here. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to make my screen just a little bit smaller here so I can fit 2 stencils on this. So I'm going to pull this over here, and as you can see, I haven't ungrouped or done anything to it. I'm keeping it this size, and I'm going to keep it all together. So now I'm going to come over to my shapes panel, click on it, come up, and I'm going to click on a square. Okay, so now I've got a square. They usually always pop up to be this size, 3.111. So I'm not going to unlock it. I'm going to keep it at the same, keep it locked so that the dimensions will become equal. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to highlight it, get rid of it, and I make my silkscreen stencils at 5.65. It's just a thing with me. You can make them whatever size you want, but I find that they hold better in the Stencil Genie and also in the Sweet Sugar Belle. Okay, so now I've got this. Looks pretty good. I'm going to click on this, and because if I slide this over, it goes behind it. So what I'm going to do is I've clicked on it with my mouse. I'm going to come up to Arrange, and I'm going to send it to the front. Okay, now when I slide it over, I can see it. Okay, so now I've got it in there, and I want to center it. I want it to be in the center of the stencils. Not all of the stencils that I do, I put them that way. Some of the Paint Your Own, I move them up a little bit because I know that the placement of the cookie is going to be different. So, but this one I'm going to put it right in the center. So now I'm going to drag my mouse over and highlight it. Okay, now I'm coming up to Align, and I'm going to come all the way down to center, and when I click on this, watch this, you're going to see it move over just a smidgen. Okay, no big deal, but now it's perfectly centered. So the next thing I want to do is I want to group it. So now it's grouped. So if I move this baby around, they're all still friends and they all still live right next to each other. Okay? Because it's a two-part stencil, I want it to line up in the exact same place. So what I'm going to do is right click and duplicate. Okay, so now I have 2 of them. Okay, so I want to take out the black part on this one and the orangish color on this one. Now remember, you can make your stencils any, you know, your icing, your airbrush colors, any color you want. So I'm going to right click on this one. Whoops, I'm sorry. You could do it either way. I usually use this over here, but since I've already done this, okay, I'm going to ungroup. So now what it's done, do not move anything. Now what it's done is it has made the size of the stencil, the actual stencil, and the image come apart. But you do not want to move them because remember, we perfectly lined them up. Now, if you do happen to do that, remember you always have the, oh my God, why did I do that key up here that you can undo and it'll go right back to where you had it. Okay, so now I'm going to click on this. And I'm going to go up to this and I'm going to ungroup. Okay? So I want to take out all of the black on this one. So I'm going to go over to here and I'm going to right click on this. Now I'm going to click on this. When I click on this, you're going to see that Teachers Create disappears. Look at that. It's magic. Okay. Enough of that fun stuff. So now I'm going to come down and I want to remove these two scrolls here. So I'm going to click on that. Okay, they're gone. Now I'm going to drag my mouse over again. I'm going to group it. It all stays together. And then I'm going to come down and I'm going to attach it. And what that's going to do is that's going to make it so that it becomes stencil ready. It cuts out the letters for you then. Okay, see? Turns them into stencil letters. So now I've got this one done. Everything's lined up perfect. I want to come over and I want to do this one. So now what I want to do is I want to take out the lifetime memories, because remember these are going to be two-part stencils. This is if you want it to be two separate colors. So now I have to do the same process. I come over and I ungroup. Okay, do not move anything again. Remember, you want to keep it lined up. I'm going to come over. I'm going to click on this again, come over, and I want to ungroup my image. So now I've ungrouped my image and I want to take out all of the orange, which is pretty easy to do because it comes here. Ta-da! It's done. Now you have a two-part stencil that you can do this in black, and you could do this in purple and green and yellow, whatever color. You could do this in a different color, but it's kind of cool to do for the school colors. Okay, so now I'm going to come back over to this one, highlight or drag my mouse over it to highlight it, and I'm going to group it. Okay, then I'm going to come down, I'm going to attach it. Again, it now cuts out the lines. It's going to make it look like a stencil. Now, I can move these babies around, make them dance, make them be friends. I can smack this one on top of this one. I can do anything I want. But you get the point. You have two different stencils. You can do two different colors. If you wanted to do 3 colors, you could. That's a whole different aspect. You would start out at the beginning and make 3 copies and go through the same steps. Okay, so I hope that helps. I don't mirror my images simply because I like the silk to be on the top for scraping. If you do mirror your image, you can just flip it. I've highlighted this one. I'm going to flip it horizontally. Okay, now what it would do is it would make the vinyl on the top, and I do know that some people like it that way. I don't like to do it that way. I don't know. I guess I'm just too old to change. So now I'm going to come over and I'm going to, that magic save key, undo. It now fixed it for me. So basically that's how I make a 2-part stencil. So hope this helps you guys.